Wildlife rehabilitation is a growing field, and one of the things that I love so much about the wildlife rehab field itself is how close and connected the rehabilitators are to one another. We know that we can reach out to one another for assistance and guidance because maybe I've only seen an animal once, but we have another rehabilitator across the country who takes care of them regularly. It's wonderful to be able to communicate with other rehabbers and have that on hand to really help give our animals the best chance at returning back to the wild.
I'm Caitlin Cody. I work at Fox 32 in Chicago. I'm at a local wildlife rehab center because I had something happen where there was a baby deer that was crying, and I didn't know that it meant that this baby was in distress. And I waited too long, and now I'm just heartbroken over what happened. And I just wish that I knew more information about this particular instance with this baby when I should have stepped in and helped this wild animal. We're taking you to talk to the experts, giving you all the information on how you could find your local rehabber and show you some cute babies along the way.
I think we all grew up with that idea that if we touch a baby bird to return it to the nest, or we touch a baby mammal, that mom would completely abandon it. And for the most part, that's just not true. A baby bird, we can get them right back up into the nest if the nest is accessible. We could even create a makeshift nest out of man-made materials and get the babies into there and get it back up to their parents. And the parents will come back up and they'll take care of that baby. We just have to get it in the right location. That's what talking to a rehabilitator is going to be so important for, is being able to determine when that's necessary, what kind of nest do we need to kind of construct, what materials are going to be appropriate. For deer, we would expect to have a problem when we see that fawn running around kind of in a frantic behavior. He's screaming and crying for hours on end. A fawn who might just be crying for a little while and then gets quiet isn't necessarily a fawn who's in trouble.
Yeah.
When we see them in that cute little postcard pose, they're all curled up, nothing needs to be done. But when we have our wild mammals, things like our squirrels, things like our baby raccoons, we want to make sure that we're giving mom enough time and enough space to be able to come down and get her baby. And I think that's one of the things that people need to understand, is that we do need to give the mom space. If we're trying to reunite mom with baby, but then we're sitting 15 feet away and we're watching from our patio, well, mom still knows that we're there and she's going to be nervous. We are a predator to them. And so we want to make sure that we completely vacate that area, give mom a couple of hours before we really want to intervene.
Okay, so we're heading into the mammal area where we have baby mammals, and we're starting off with possums. So how many possum babies do we have?
So right now the Rehabilitation Center has 245 baby possums, ranging in age from babies you would still find in the pouch to babies we would consider pre-release who are outside and almost ready to go back to the wild.
So what's the most common way that people find these babies?
So typically our possums come in one of two ways. They're either found as singles, maybe they dropped off of mom's back when mom got scared and ran away, or we're going to get in these babies as whole litters when something has happened to mom and she's passed away. Maybe she was caught by a dog, or maybe she was hit by a vehicle. We can't necessarily always expect the general public to know every single species they're going to come upon. It's a wait and watch, and it's a wait and watch and reach out to somebody.
Yes.
Sharing something like a video or a picture to a wildlife rehabilitator is a crucial information that the rehabilitator needs to know. The last thing we want to do is ever feed an animal, and any rehabilitator you talk to, they're going to request that you, especially with young animals, keep them nice and warm, but do not give them food or water. We could actually cause detrimental effects by providing an animal with food, especially if we don't necessarily know what food that animal needs. The last thing that we as rehabilitators want to hear is, hey, we found a baby bunny and I gave him human baby formula, or I gave him cow's milk. All of our wildlife have very specialized nutritional needs and specialized digestive systems, and without knowing exactly what that animal needs, it is not appropriate to give them any sort of food. There are plenty of rehabilitators out there, ourselves included, who have a network of volunteers to assist in guiding people on what to do next. It might be a situation where maybe we can convince you or encourage you to get that animal safely contained. Maybe we have a volunteer who might be able to meet you somewhere and get that animal transported out to us. Or maybe there's a rehabilitator that's far closer to you than you realize, and you might be able to get it to them. It's always important to be able to reach out to know those next steps, especially if you're not exactly sure what your capabilities are going to be. We get calls pretty regularly from the other side of Indiana, and when I let them know that I'm 6 hours away from them, I don't want that person to then go back to scrambling for information. I want to make it so they're making only 1 or 2 more phone calls and they have the answers they need. The DNR website for your different states, whether you're in Indiana or Illinois or Michigan, they all have a list of wildlife rehabilitators that actually breaks us down by county, lists all of our contact information, and lists all the species that we take in.
Is there anything that you want to leave our viewers with after we took this tour of your beautiful facility and seeing all of these wonderful animals that you take care of day in and day out? You take these animals home sometimes. Just what message do you want to get across to the people who are watching this?
So wildlife rehabilitation really is our opportunity and the community's opportunity to give back for some of the things that happen to our environment because we live in their habitat space. And so it's a really great opportunity for people to come together to help species that are both common, but then also species who are endangered in our state. And so it comes down to those who are in our community who make that decision that they're going to give this animal a second chance. And it's a beautiful thing to see our communities rally behind our native species.
And it's not just up to you to do it on your own. You can reach out, and people are so willing to help.
It's very willing.
Ask your neighbors, your friends, or call around, because I think that as a people together, we can help and get these animals in and take care of them.
Correct. And social media has become a wonderful outlet to be able to say, I've already talked to a wildlife rehab center, I can't get it there today, but who can transport this animal for me? Almost immediately you'll have a response and people will be willing to take it in.